I want to talk to you about leadership. It's a big talking point in Australia this past week, particularly inside the Matildas camp.
Some people are just born natural leaders, and I feel I put myself in that.
Coach Joe Montemurro has his own ideas about leadership.
You're asking the wrong person about what it means to be a captain, because in my team my teams are always built around leaders and role models within that group. So for me, Sam is an important part of the group. She's an amazing person, an amazing footballer, and an amazing part of what we're trying to build.
So Sam is a member of a broader group. But in the space of just a few days from that press conference and the next match against England, an old guard, that cohort of Sam Kerr's, were back in the starting lineup, and Sam Kerr was wearing the captain's armband. One of those members of the cohort is Steph Catley, who's been the Matildas captain for the past 2 years in Sam Kerr's absence.
We've seen in the last couple of days Sam Kerr's made no bones about the fact she'd like the captaincy back. You've been the captain for the past 2 years. Would you like to keep the captaincy? Have you spoken to Joe about that? And how would you describe what you bring to the captaincy? What are your strengths?
Yeah, I mean, the way that I see it is, Sam's always been our captain. I am the vice captain, and she's been out for 2 years. So naturally, I step into the role as captain. I like to think I did my job. I did exactly what I needed to do. I think as a leader, I try not to change anything I'm doing already or anything about myself. So, I try to bring who I am off the pitch, on the pitch, and just keep everything sort of the same and lead the way that I do. And whether I've got the armband or not, I'll continue to do the same thing. But like I said, Sam's our captain, and that's always the way that it's been.
That's not really the way it's always been, because there were captains before and there will be captains after Sam Kerr. The questions keep coming about Sam Kerr's leadership of the Matildas, because there are genuine questions about leadership and what that means when you're the captain of a national team. And there are also plenty of questions that Sam Kerr has not addressed about that night out, where it's well documented she was drunk, vomited in the back of a taxi, resulting in a window being smashed in the taxi, Sam Kerr refusing to pay for the damages, then describing police officers as stupid and white, and the taxi driver himself as some dodgy. Players in a sports team are generally selected because of their playing ability. But the appointment of a captain comes with a different set of responsibilities, particularly the captain of a national team representing a nation. Generally, they are expected to be role models both on and off the pitch. Completely unrelated to the Matildas, the Socceroos coach Tony Popovich held a press conference this week, and he was also asked about what he thought leadership was all about.
I think in terms of leadership, I think we can all say the right thing. We can all make promises or tell everyone what we want to do, but I think the best leaders are the ones that follow through with conviction, and I believe that's the best way of getting respect from people. And I've always tried to, if I tell the players something, I will follow through with it, and I believe that the leader, first and foremost, must set the standard, and whatever you ask of someone else, you must be able to do yourself. And I've always tried to live by that. Set the example. Don't lower your standards, and try and get everyone at that same level, and always being the one that striving for more, leading by action first, and then all the people, from what I find, enjoy that and they want to jump on board.
Let's go back to the Matildas' 3-0 loss to England earlier this week. Generally, after a match like this, a press conference is held with the captain and the coach, or a star of the match. This time around, it wasn't the captain, it was Ellie Carpenter, who was supporting coach Joe Montemurro, who looked less than impressed when questions about Sam Kerr's captaincy arose again.
Ellie, can you just tell us how it felt having Sam as captain for the first time officially, and what she brings to the team that perhaps may have been missing in the last 2 years?
Yeah, Sam's always been our captain. Obviously, she was out for a very long time. Having her presence back in this squad is very important for us. You know, she's a big player. She's, you know, very important to the team. She brings a lot of experience. You know, for us, she's changed football in Australia. And yeah, for us having her on the team is a massive boost for us. Obviously, she's just coming back from a very long injury, so she's trying to find her feet, hit the ground running again. And I think, you know, multiple minutes here in the national team, she's probably very happy with that, and hopefully can build on that for the next games at club and country.
There have been a number of polls taken in the media about whether Australians support Sam Kerr's captaincy. When Joe Montemurro was asked what he had to say to Australians who believed she should not captain again, this was his response.
We've made a decision internally for what we believe is the best for football performance and for the group. I make football decisions. I'm not going to make any political decisions. They're purely football, and Sam is an important part of what we're trying to do. And as far as we're concerned, we just kept the status quo going forward, and we're happy with her continuing on as captain.
Back in June, when Joe Montemurro was named as the Matildas coach, I asked him about his coaching philosophy and his approach to the team more generally. I noticed that you're probably going to be the only football coach with a PhD. I've missed a few.
Haven't finished it yet.
No, you haven't finished, but you're working on it.
I'm working on it.
Tell me what you're looking at in that, what you're focusing on.
I suppose just the study on what high performance teams do to become, winning high performance teams. Is it culturally based? Is it the business? Is it the environment that they exist in? So I'm just fascinated in that. From a leadership perspective, what influence do I have as a leader in the whole group? Is it just the playing group? Is it the staff? Is it the greater club or greater organisation? So I'm just sort of delving into understanding what high performance organisations do to continuously win, but have a sustainability in winning.
But psychology is key, isn't it? And I wonder if you can explain your approach to the psychology of the individual and how you get them to buy into that group culture, how you set that. Because I've also noticed there can be some great players that just don't fit with particular coaches who can't get the best out of them. And interestingly, the team does better without necessarily having that superstar.
Yeah, look, it's a great question, Tracy, because and especially in the women's game, because the development over the last 4 or 5 years has really seen that players that probably were 5-6 years ago big heroes are now finding that it's a little bit more difficult because of the development of a lot of younger players, because now the organisations have the structures in place to develop players. But the psychological part is huge. It's huge because you're not, as you said, not dealing with the individual, but how does that individual fit within the realms of the organisation? So I use the word selflessness, a lot in my philosophy, in my approach to football, because in football you do a lot of selfless deeds. You're making a run and you might not receive the ball, but that run is taking away a fullback, which opens a space for an attacker, and you need to continuously do that. Defending. It's another big thing now that attackers have to know how to defend more than actually just attack. That's modern football. That's a selfless deed, and I think once you get players to buy into this idea of selflessness, then you become a team.
Speaking more broadly about the whole business of football in Australia and the FA itself, we're still waiting for the announcement of who will be the full-time CEO. At the moment, former Matilda Heather Garriock is the interim. So until all of these issues have been addressed and the media are not told that they cannot ask about Sam Kerr or the captaincy, these questions and this kind of narrative will continue. I've written about this in my book, The Eye of the Dragonfly. There's a chapter on the World Cup and the impact it had here in Australia in 2023. There's a chapter on the Matildas and what they represent to this nation, to women's sport and to women's sport globally. There's also a chapter on Sam Kerr herself. It's called Captaincy, A Bad Night Out, and the Emperor's New Clothes. You can read all about that in The Eye of the Dragonfly. But for now, we're just going to have to keep watching this space until all the answers have been provided.
Thank you.
Thank you.